Discover Arizona's farmers that grow specialty crops. They'll show you the variety and abundance of Arizona agriculture. This is one way to celebrate, enjoy, taste, and share your favorite foods through Arizona Farm Bureau's FillYourPlate.org.
Well, right now we grow citrus, pretty much all types, grapefruit, oranges, lemons, Minneolas. We also raise cattle. We also pasture quite a few horses. Over the last 80 years, we've grown everything from sweet peas to watermelons, cantaloupes, lettuce, potatoes, just a myriad of things that look like they might pay off. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. The family's been in farming for probably over 100 years. My dad's side of the family moved out from Missouri out here a little over 80 years ago and just did a continuation. Of course, it was a whole different world of farming out here. They had to drill some wells and start the irrigation process. Did that for a number of years, eventually got into the cotton. So that's how we got into agriculture. And then I've done that all my life. I've been involved in it. Went off to college to try to improve my mentality, which was questionable success. But I found very quickly that I didn't like living in that kind of environment. I knew I was never going to make it working in a town somewhere, so I continued to work here and came back here in the summers. And then when I got out of school, my dad was getting down to where he liked to cut back some, so I leased his portion of Justice Brothers Ranch from him, and then he worked for me, which was kind of a funny deal. And not that he paid any attention to me, but he worked for me. And then that way he could run off when he wanted to. He and Mom could take off and do a couple, 3 weeks. He could only stay gone about 2 weeks. Then he had to come back and drive around and say, well, everything looks good. And then he was ready to go again, but he couldn't stay away more than 2 weeks. So that's how I got into it. The Valley of the Sun really was developed by agriculture. It started with production for the military forts that were here back in the 1800s. They started cutting the grasses along the Salt River, put in some temporary dams, which was okay during regular flows, but would get wiped out in the floods, and then took a look at some old canal structures that had been put in generations before by the Indians, started developing those, developed more production, agriculture. But again, harnessing the river was a big thing, because no matter what they did, when the floods came, it'd take out the whatever dams they put in. As a matter of fact, it even flooded the basement of the state capitol one year. The water came down so bad. The farmers pledged all their property to the federal government as a guarantee against the loan that they then borrowed money and built Roosevelt Dam. So the original dam on the Salt River was Roosevelt. It was built by the farmers with their property, and it almost didn't make it. It was a very nip and tuck paying the government back, but the farmers did. Now, since then, today, most of the Salt River projects, water goes into houses, residential use, because, as we all know, the valley has grown so fast. But if it hadn't been for the infrastructure that agriculture put in there and the development of the water, that water wouldn't be here. Very similar with the Central Arizona Project, originally started out as an agricultural project, and many areas of the state that now receive CAP water do so because agriculturalists saw into the future that you've got to have this water if you're going to develop farm ground, and you got to have the water if you're going to have people.